Alan has asked me to join him on a trip to the FEHill Ranch in East Central Texas, and I jumped at the opportunity. Couldn't be more excited to go hunt for the first time in Texas.
McWhorter Custom Rifles presents
Well, we've got our data confirmed at 500 and 600 yards. We're getting ready to go meet John Hill at the FEHill Ranch in East Central Texas to chase giant whitetails. Stay tuned. Precision Hunting TV is coming your way.
Precision Hunting TV is brought to you by McWhorter Custom Rifles, McMillan Fiberglass Stocks, Swarovski Optique, Hornady Ammunition, and Borden Accuracy.
Some of y'all have seen me on the downrange segments with Precision Hunting TV. My name's Bobby Keigans, and I'm a master gunsmith here at McWhorter Custom Rifles. Well, most of the time, I'm kind of the wizard behind the curtain, but this time, I get in front of the cameras. Alan has asked me to join him on a trip to the FEHill Ranch in East Central Texas, and I jumped at the opportunity. Couldn't be more excited to go hunt for the first time in Texas. So the FEHill Ranch, 11,000 acres, free range, operating cattle ranch, low fence. It is, I've seen lots about it on social media and the Instagram, and been following the FEHill Ranch for years. They've got some really, really nice deer out there. So when Alan gave me the opportunity to go, there was no question I was taking it. So pulling up to the ranch, which is at the end of this really long remote road, going in the gate, everything's looks a lot like home. Middle Georgia, rolling hills, cow pasture, the trees are familiar to me. It kind of brought back some childhood memories of hunting Middle Georgia as a kid. Everything's looking like it's going to tune up for a good hunt. So Alan was unable to join me on this trip, but we do have customer and good friend Zach Raymond, who is coming into camp, and as soon as he shows up, I'm excited, I can't wait. We're gonna go to the range and shoot some and make sure our rifles are tuned up and get ready for this hunt. This one? So this is our first day out in Texas. We got in earlier today. John from the FEHill Ranch brought us over to their shooting range. They've got a nice range here, goes out to about 1,500 yards. That plates in 50-yard increments. So we're getting data on the rifles, confirming our zeros. So I think we're good to go with anything that comes out within 1,000 yards. It's day number one. We're off to an early start. I can't wait to see what happens in Texas. We make it to the blind. It's still dark. We get all settled in. Sun starts to come up and the silence is broken by coyotes. And I mean coyotes. There had to have been 20,000 of those things. But everything is starting to come together. I am super excited and pumped. First day, first hunt in Texas. Can't get any better than this. We're sitting there after the coyotes kind of quit making all of their noise and have a few deer pop out, you know, kind of different places in this L-shaped food plot that we're in. And there's a feeder out there. And it was, I would say it was kind of a slow start to the morning. It was real heavy fog and just kind of warm temperatures, but it wasn't long before the deer started moving.
This segment is brought to you by Board & Accuracy, makers of the most accurate custom hunting actions on the market. Manufactured in the USA to true bench rest tolerances. Board & Accuracy equals success.
We're sitting here in the blind. We've seen a few deer. It's kind of slow, it's warm and sort of muggy. And at the far end of the food plot off to our east, a young buck walks out. He's kind of not interested in eating anything. He just kind of walks out in the plot and he's just sort of looking around. He's at the very end of the plot, the road we drove in on. He turns and walks out on the road. And he's kind of real trained on the trail that he walked out of in the woods. And he's real alert and his ears just keep kind of, so we had a feeling that there was something where he came from that was going to make things more interesting. We went ahead and got everything set up just in case it was another buck. Sure enough, it was. And out behind him walked this really nice, mature 5.5-year-old 10-pointer. Big bodied deer, big for this ranch especially. And it was exciting to say the least. To watch these two deer kind of circle each other with bristles raised and just in a few more minutes they would have been tangled up. But it was an opportunity to shoot a nice 10-pointer. It's the first day and the first hunt, but don't ever pass anything up on the first hunt that you would shoot on the last hunt.
So, I didn't want to be that guy to tag out the first sit, first morning, first week of hunting. But we had a really nice 10-pointer come out. And he's down there about 226 yards. He was sort of posturing up with that younger buck. And we used the McWhorter 6.5 BRC. Kind of dropped him in his tracks.
Nice. We kind of got a full moon, changes the deer patterns and activities a little bit, so we were not really sure what to expect this morning. Came, got in the stand and heard a bunch of coyotes, and it was a little bit slower movement this morning, and had a couple of young bucks come out and one doe, and had a young buck down here on this end of the plot. And this guy, he just kept looking back over his shoulder, and this guy came out and kind of postured up at him and made the little younger deer kind of cower down and walk away. But you know, good mature buck, and he's already got some broken stuff here. Looks like he may have been kind of a bully deer, but you know, just good big body and chocolate, and just a really solid East Central Texas buck. Just couldn't be any happier with the way things went this morning. For this hunt, I brought a McWhorter 6.5 PRC. It's built on a board and action with a 22-inch number 4 contour straight fluted Brooks barrel. The stock design on this rifle is a peak, and it has the copperhead paint color in midnight bronze Cerakote, a TriggerTech diamond trigger set at 1.2 pounds. It has the Hawkins 3-port muzzle brake, rings, and Obendorf style bottom metal. Our scope for this hunt is a Swarovski X5i 3.5 to 18 with the flatline ops level. The bullets we're shooting are the Hornady 143 ELDX at about 3,050 feet per second, and we have Armageddon gear support bag.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by Rack 'em Up Roasted Feeds, Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, Surge Pro by BioFact Crop Care, Armageddon Gear, Gun Foam, and Mesquite Creek Taxidermy.
All right, welcome back. Today, Alan and I are going to be talking about some of the popular hunting cartridges that we like. Whenever you guys call in, we're going to walk you through the process of selecting a caliber and cartridge that is going to more than accomplish the task for the animal that you're going to be hunting. So Alan,
the distances.
And the distances that you're going to be hunting. So Alan, walk us through some of the more popular cartridges that are going on out the door right now.
So some of these have been our favorites. Some of them are new, some of them not quite so new. Starting at the bottom, all these are hunting bullets. We usually recommend heavy for caliber bullets because they slow down less rapidly, they drift less in the wind. So even in our 223 right here, our 223 Remington, 88 grain ELD bullet.
Oh, okay.
26-inch barrel is $29.50.
And what game are you going to cover with that 223?
Mostly varmints, coyotes, but I mean, I know some people that use it for deer culling, and I'm not going to recommend that, but I know it works exceptionally well. Next one up the line is a 6 Creedmoor. It's shooting 103 grain ELDX at about 3,100 feet a second, and that's good for deer and antelope, and pretty much all the way up to. You wouldn't want to shoot an elk with it, just doesn't quite have that terminal velocity that you need.
But the retained velocity on that's going to be out there at some good distance.
Right, so I mean, you're good on deer to 600-700 yards. Right. 6.5 PRC's been one of our favorites for a long time, 143 grain ELDX. With our hand loads, we're getting 3,150 out of a 26. But my favorite cartridge after doing this for 17 or 18 years is this next one. It's a 7 SPRC. Now this is a Wildcat that we do, and all we do is we take the 6.5 PRC, neck it up to 7mm, and load it with 175 grain ELDX.
And with that one, you're actually accomplishing what the other Wildcat, like the 7.300, but you're doing it in a short action and a little bit less powder, correct?
This little cartridge right here will do the same thing basically a 7 rim mag will do with about 10 grains less powder. Right. And it works in a true short action. 2,950 to 2,975 in a 26-inch barrel. It's a lethal for everything up through elk.
Yeah, man, that's awesome though.
Next is the new 7 PRC that Hornady's come out with here in the last year or so. It's just basically an improvement over 7 rim mag. I mean, it'll do about 75 feet a second faster than a rim mag. The bullet's more ideally seated in the case. It's becoming quickly one of our favorites, 175 grain ELDX.
Now next is the one that I love, which is going to be
this is what Keith's got. Several years ago, we decided to neck the 300 PRC down to 7mm, and we call it 7L PRC for long.
And with that one, like we're getting with the 195s and the 180s, we're still getting over 3,100 feet per second.
Yeah, the 180s will shoot around 3,175. The 195s will shoot in that 30-50 area.
So that's my favorite cartridge right now because I like to be able to reach up there and touch some targets.
For you 30 caliber guys, it's 300 PRC, shooting a 212 grain ELDX bullet, real high BC. 3,000 feet a second on that. That's good for elk and beyond. But you can still shoot it for deer as well.
Oh, yeah.
Some guys are just 30 cal diehard guys, and that's still not too much for deer.
Right.
Last but not least, this is going to be on Denise and I's bear hunting this year, I hope. A 338 ROM shooting a 270 ELDX. That won't be but about 2,700 feet a second, but that bullet's still got a really, really high BC. So if that bear steps out on a hill at 400 or 500 yards,
Oh, he's down.
he's still in a lot of trouble. So we usually recommend heavy for caliber bullets like we've recommended here. And that's your True Precision tip, brought to you by Keith and Allen and McWhorter Custom Rifles.
Precision Hunting TV is also brought to you by McWhorter True Precision Long Range Hunting and Shooting School, Tacticam, Leo Photo USA, Sig Sauer, Trigger Tech, Brux Barrels, and Hawkins Precision. This segment is brought to you by Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, real Texas barbecue.
So we got our deer loaded up, brought back to camp, and breakfast is ready for us. Spend a few hours kind of relaxing and talking to everybody else about what they saw in their hunt that morning. And since Alan's not with us, I get the opportunity to put another tag, deer number 2. So that afternoon, John had plans for us to go to the hilltop stand. It's called the hilltop stand because it sits on top of a hill overlooking this beautiful food plot and this massive expanse of just kind of central Texas brush, which is a little bit different. There's some waist-high grass growing out there, and in the distance of all this is like a mesquite wall. We've been in the stand about 30 minutes now and kind of got a good feel for how everything looks, and notice movement out the corner of my eye, and I look ahead of us, and this mesquite wall outsteps this giant, giant body of a deer.
Scent 2, and this morning we shot our good 10-point deer. Management's real important on these ranches out here in Texas to promote the right kind of deer herd that they want to have here, and they don't want these, 5-year-old 8-pointers that are never going to be above that to be, part of the breeding stock. So
look at this toad of a deer. That's just a really good management deer. 8-pointer, big heavy body. He first popped up out of the grass over here at 325, and we just kind of wait and let him feed along this ridge line. Finally got a shot on him. He presented it in the McWhorter 6.5 PRC. Just dropped him straight in his tracks. Bang, flop. Now that I've punched both of my whitetail tags, there's an opportunity to go shoot some hogs. So my camera guy Alex and I load up in the truck with Scott, and they take us over to the power line stand. I'm kind of in relaxation mode at this point. I've shot both of my bucks, and if a hog comes out, it's going to be a sad day for him. We've been sitting in the stand for, I don't know, 30 minutes now, maybe 45 minutes. It's starting to get kind of late in the day, and I noticed movement out of the corner of my eye that was not the cows. And I look, and there are 2 giant boar hogs just plowing through the cows, running across the power line into this head of woods that we're looking into. I knew they were headed to that corn feeder. Now it's time to get serious.
Third sit in Texas, third kill. Got a pig on this one. The 6.5 PRC McWhorter Custom Rifles getting the job done with the peak stock, Borden titanium action, Hawkins rings and brake, straight fluted Brooks barrel, Swarovski X5i scope. It's a deadly combination. This right here is proof, 3 for 3.
I had a great time at the FEHill Ranch. I had a great time in Texas, my first ever trip. The hunting was phenomenal. The host was great. The food was wonderful. I couldn't have asked for a better time. I hate Alan didn't get to make it. No, not really. I enjoyed shooting his deer too. But we had a good time, and I can't wait to get back to Texas.